let's face it, math scores are not very good. And one of the main reasons, quite honestly, is not because kids can't do math, it's because they can't read well. And we also know that reading skills are not so good because there is a very strong effect of reading skills on the ability to comprehend and demonstrate mathematical skills. So we need to talk about reading, and we need to talk about reading in the context of math instruction. I will tell you, if you're a math teacher and your kids aren't getting it, think about their reading skills, because it's quite possible you also need to be a reading teacher. But we don't have to separate them. We can incorporate those reading skills inside of your math instruction. And we're going to look at some ways to make that possible using AI. But let's first take a look at the issue, which is, how does reading affect mathematics? So I teach algebra to 9th grade students. I have some context. Difficulty understanding. Could it be their reading skills, if it's possible? And how does reading affect mathematics? And the reason why I'm putting this in there, although I kind of just told you the answer, is because in many cases, especially as you start looking at upper grades, upper elementary, mid school, high school, the folks teaching math aren't teaching reading. So what is that connection? So let's just take very briefly a moment to look at it. Yes, the answer is yes, it's very possible. Low reading skills are contributing to students' difficulties. And here I'm choosing algebra. And how are some ways that they're connected? Comprehending word problems, understanding vocabulary, and there's a lot of vocabulary in mathematics. Following directions, reasoning with language, because language is also not just how we communicate, but how we think. So we have to have the language skills. If we improve reading skills, better problem interpretation, accuracy, persistence, conceptual learning, which is increasingly important as we start looking at higher and higher levels of mathematics. So the point is, yes, if we want kids to learn mathematics and demonstrate mathematics, we also have to teach reading. And some things we can do: annotate word problems in math. If you're thinking about this, run the prompt yourself and spend a bit of time exploring and digging in a bit deeper, and look at how do we as math teachers help kids to become better math students by helping them become better readers. All right. But let's look at some ways we can do that. Let's get some help with that process. And we'll turn ourselves to prompt 2, which first, let's look at reading. What we're going to do is we're going to look at some reading skills. We're going to look at some instruction, and we're going to bring it together into an instructional unit or an instructional plan. So let's start with the reading. If reading is a challenge, what are the top 4 research-based instructional strategies for helping students improve phonics, vocabulary, and comprehension? Because we're going to see those direct ties over to mathematics in these areas here. So let's find out what they are. Now, every time we run this, we're going to get pretty much the same information, but there's a reason why we're doing the different pieces, and that is eventually we're going to say, okay, look up in the chat and use this information to create an instructional plan. So top things for phonics, explicit, and being kind of a reading specialist myself, yes, this is what it is: decoding words fluently and accurately, letter, sound, spelling, and so forth. Systematic instruction. We're not going to spend much time talking about the reading. We're here to talk about math, but we need that in the discussion. So we've got our vocabulary instruction, some top strategies for that, comprehension, top strategies for that, and so forth. If you want to dig more deeply into the reading, run the prompt, spend some time, and review it. And word study. Okay. But here, we're just going to be feeding that instructional plan. Now, having got the reading strategies, let's next then turn to Hi, David Bowman here. If you are enjoying this video and these techniques, please make sure to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. Now, if you are a school administrator or a PD lead and you're looking for some support for your staff to make the most effective use of AI within the learning environment, feel free to give us a call or send us an email. We'd love to talk to you about how we can work together to make sure that your staff is using AI effectively to meet the learning needs of kids. Now, back to the video. Help students improve reading within instruction on algebra. Give me some activities that are going to embed the reading skills within the mathematics instruction. And for you, what you're going to put in is, what is your specific topic? What is your grade? What is your concepts, mathematical concepts and processes that you want the students to learn? So you're going to modify it with that. I'm just using, this is my example. Then, so we want activities, and then, so I know what I'm doing as the teacher, explain how those skills are being addressed in the activities. It's kind of like if you're cooking something. You do your prep work, right? You get your ingredients, and you got a little pile of garlic here, and you got a little pile of onions over there, and you got some chopped up meat. That's what we're doing here. And then we're going to assemble. In case you're wondering, if we know all this stuff, why do we keep doing it? That's why. We're getting our ingredients together. All right, so let's drop in some activities that apply those reading strategies, the ones we just referred to, within algebra. And go. Excellent focus. Integrating reading development directly into algebra is one of the most effective ways to strengthen both literacy and mathematical reasoning. Here are some strategies. All right. Decoding the language, good. And here's how the reading's in there. Math vocabulary mapping, good. Reciprocal teaching for word problems, good. And the skills. And thinking aloud problem solving, good. Good comprehension strategy. And math journaling. All right, so we've got our activities. Now, let's put them together. Let's assemble this meal called our lesson plan. And now, this is a bit of a long one. So here is the lesson plan prompt. And it follows all of the same components and basically the same template that I've used in other videos. So what do we have? Students, 9th grade, subject, algebra, graphing and analyzing linear functions. I want them to be able to demonstrate understanding, apply them. My pedagogical approach, I want I do, we do, group do, you do. And I want them to improve phonics, vocabulary, and comprehension while studying the math, because we're teaching math. Create a 3-day lesson plan, 45 minutes each. So all the basic stuff that we put into a lesson plan prompt. We're assembling, incorporate the 4 reading strategies in the math lesson through the math activities above. Remember, we created the math activities on the basis of the reading strategies. Now we're going to create the lesson plan on the basis of those activities. We've built all the pieces. And tell me a little more about that. Exit tickets, give me standards, and so forth. And finally, we've got all of our pieces. And now we're going to have a nice, robust plan to help kids to develop their mathematical skills, but at the same time, build up their reading skills so they can begin to master both. And very briefly, how does it look? We've got our content standards. We've got day 1, we do, you group do, you do, and so on. And this is going to go on for a while. But basically, that's the strategy for helping kids learn math by incorporating effective reading instruction at the same time. I hope you found this useful. Take care.